Once, in a village that forgot how to look down, lived a young piglet named Milo. Milo wasn't shiny. He wasn't loud or clever. And he certainly wasn't clean. While the other animals brushed their coats and posed in front of pond reflections, Milo rolled in the mud, built castles from puddles, and laughed when the rain came down. Milo, snorted the fancy foxes, "You're always messy." "He'll never be anything more than dirt," whispered the deer with gleaming hooves. "Ugh! Here comes Mud Boy," mocked the squirrels as they skipped over dry leaves. Milo smiled anyway, not because the words didn't hurt, but because the mud felt like home. Soft, cool, honest. But deep down, a tiny ache lived in his chest. Maybe they were right. Maybe mud meant small. Maybe mess meant meaningless. Chapter 1. The Festival of Reflections. Every spring, the animals of Clover Hill held the Festival of Reflections. They gathered by the lake, the cleanest place in the land, to show off their best selves in its still waters. The owls fluffed their feathers. The foxes combed their tails. The deer wore flowers behind their ears. Milo came too, muddy hooves, messy fur, bits of leaf on his back. As he approached the lake, the animals gasped. "Don't let him near the water," hissed the swan. "He'll ruin the reflection." And just like that, they blocked him out. Milo turned away slowly, heart heavy, feet dragging through the dirt. He found a quiet puddle behind the trees. Not glassy like the lake, just a shallow mess of mud and twigs. And there he sat, alone. Chapter 2. The Stranger in the Rain. That night, rain poured from the sky like tears. The festival scattered. Fires hissed. Tents blew. Milo stayed in the woods, letting the water mix with the earth. He closed his eyes and listened to the storm until he heard a strange sound. Splash, squish, whimper. Someone was stuck. He followed the sound to the edge of a hill where a young fawn, not much older than him, had slipped down into a patch of thick, slippery mud. "Help," she cried. "I can't move." The foxes wouldn't come. The deer wouldn't risk their coats. But Milo knew mud like it was part of him. He took a deep breath and stepped in. He sank, slipped, slid, but he reached her. "Grab on," he said gently. The fawn hesitated. "You're all muddy." Milo laughed. "So are you." She smiled, then took his hoof. Together, they climbed out. They were covered head to toe in mud, but they were safe. And for the first time, Milo saw something in someone else's eyes that no mirror had shown him before. Respect. Chapter 3. The Hidden Mirror. The next morning, the storm was gone. The sun peeked through. Animals came to assess the damage. The torn tents, the wet feathers, the broken booths. But something had changed. The fawn told everyone what Milo did. And slowly, stories began to rise like mist. The mole who remembered how Milo helped him find his lost glasses. The bird who Milo shielded from a hawk's shadow, using his muddy back. The raccoon who once slipped into a ditch and was pulled out by muddy hooves. They all forgot to mention it before. But Milo never forgot to help. That day, an old badger waddled up to Milo and said, "Come with me." Milo followed him deep into the forest, where the trees were thick and the ground always soft. And there, hidden in a hollow tree, was a mirror, not like any other. It was cracked, covered in dried leaves and vines. But when Milo looked inside, he didn't just see his reflection. He saw every muddy moment that made him brave, pulling the mole from the ditch, lifting the bird from harm, saving the fawn. Tears filled his eyes. The mud never made him less. It made him more. Chapter 4. The Real Festival. The animals gathered again, not at the lake, but at the muddy clearing near the woods. This time, they asked Milo to lead. He stood before them, still messy, still smiling, still Milo. "I used to think mud made me unworthy," he said. "I thought it meant I wasn't clean enough to matter. But then I learned the mess taught me kindness. The struggle taught me strength. And the dirt helped me grow. Real mirrors don't just show beauty. They show what beauty survives. One by one, animals stepped into the mud with him. The fox dipped her paw. The owl landed on a wet branch. The deer bowed her flowered head in respect. And the lake, it waited quietly in the distance, no longer the only place to reflect, because in that moment, the mud became the mirror, and it showed who they truly were, not polished, not perfect, but real. Final chapter, the Garden of Scars. Months passed. The clearing, once only mud, grew wildflowers. Animals played there daily, not to impress, but to belong. Milo became a symbol, not a mess, but of meaning. And every spring, instead of the festival of reflections, they held the garden gathering, where stories were told, dirt was shared, and laughter echoed louder than judgment. Milo still rolled in the mud, but now others rolled too, not to be like him, but to find themselves. Moral of the story: we are often taught to hide the parts of ourselves that feel too messy, too broken, too different. We're told to scrub ourselves clean before we're worthy of being seen. But the truth is, real beauty and strength are often found in life's messiest places. It's not in how shiny we look, it's in how deeply we care, how bravely we help, how honestly we live. The mirror is not in the lake. The mirror is in the mud,